Hey everybody, welcome back to Stock Talk with David. I'm David, and this episode we're talking about Torchlight and its merger with Metamaterials. This is one that has gotten a lot of traction in the past week with the announcement of the dividend coming up for the company and the merger and the potential short squeeze on the way. We'll talk more about that, but just so it makes sense, if you guys aren't in the Discord yet, definitely check it out. I'll put a link in there. That's where I'm most active, and that's where we're mostly talking about these stocks. So going to jump right in with some of the context of it, and then talking about the catalyst, the charts, short interest, and then basically what's going to happen in the next few weeks with the merger. Okay, so moving on, we'll talk about why is it being hyped right now. And like I said, Torch is being merged with Metamaterials. The company wants to use Torch's NASDAQ listing to avoid paying fees, wasting time, etc. It's a very costly, long process to get your company listed onto a stock exchange, and especially the main ones, right? However, once the merger is complete, Torch holders are going to receive a proportion of Meta shares relative to their position in Torch, like what they had before the companies actually merged, right? And also, with Meta being on the NASDAQ and being on the stock exchanges, it allows them to raise a ton of money, and it's a company that's going to be capital intensive just in the nature of what they do. They do things that are revolutionary in the science world, in the application world, especially with materials. We won't talk about their company too much here, but we should talk more about the stock and the merger, okay? And quoted on their last call, the company is in the top third percentile for criteria of heavily shorted stocks globally. So that is a very, very big thing for the stock. That is something that you don't see every day. And all the shorts must cover their position by June 24th because they won't be able to furnish the preferred shares, which we will talk about in a second. So again, why is it being hyped? It does follow the same pattern in catalysts and criteria that Overstock experienced in 2019. Talk more about what the actual preferred share is going to do to the stock price and to the squeeze that is more than likely incoming, right? An interesting note is that when Overstock got squeezed over like 1,000%, it wasn't as shorted as Torch, right? So Torch actually has more short interest today than Overstock did, which makes a lot of sense of why it could squeeze, right? And it squeezed from $5 to $128, okay? Moving into the catalyst. So this is taken right off of the press release for Torchlight and from Meta. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but really the idea is that before the closing date of the arrangement, Torchlight will declare and issue preferred shares to the holders of Torchlight, representing 100% of the value of its existing oil and gas assets. What that means is that once the merger is complete, Torch has until the end of the year to completely sell off all of their assets, and they're going to use those assets and they're going to pay the shareholders, right? It was kind of their bribe to tell the shareholders, hey, we're going to dissolve this company, we're going to pay you guys, but we need you to vote because you're the shareholders. We need you to vote that it's okay for us to merge with the company. So it's almost like a bribe, but pretty much everybody is willing to take that bribe because it's a really sweet deal. This is an important thing to note, though. The shares of the preferred stock are going to be unregistered and not freely tradable, meaning once you have those preferred shares, there is no market for them. And unless you are close buddies of someone at a brokerage, a market maker, whoever, somebody that can make you a market, you won't be able to trade out of those preferred shares. So you have to think about it like that long term. It's essentially an IOU that Torchlight is giving you, and they're going to pay you back at a future date before the end of the year as stated in the agreement. It's essentially just thinly disguised debt. That is how the SEC describes preferred shares, how the accounting federations and such describe preferred shares, and so that's what you have to look forward to. This thing shooting up, and if we use Overstock example, shooting into the hundreds. May not happen, it might happen, you never know, but nonetheless, pretty interesting, right? So what happens after June 24th? The company, in my opinion, I think it should be trading as Meta. I might be wrong on the exact timing of that, and if I am, please let me know in the comments so we can all learn from that. But basically, the Torch holders will be holding that preferred share, that IOU, and it has been rumored that this IOU could be worth, and this dividend could really be worth between $1 to $25, right? The reason why is because Torch is an oil and gas company, and they are selling an oil and gas asset, a giant oil basin, and that price of the dividend is going to depend on the price of the oil at the time, right? What oil is trading at is going to have a direct representation of how much this dividend is going to be worth. So moving on into the conclusion, I like the long-term potential with Meta. They've done a lot of tweeting with Elon recently, which is interesting, maybe a good or bad thing. So any partnership with them would send the price zooming out. I think right now Meta is trading at like $5.50, $6 a share, so very small cap. Could cause that thing to quickly pick up pace. Like I said, I would anticipate the dividend being at least $10 given the macro environment of oil by the end of the year. Very similar pattern to overstock short squeeze in 2018 or 2019. And so that is something, if you want more info on that, feel free to look it up. Do your own due diligence. We've been doing our research on this since December and January. So we've been on this for a while. And again, although there's a high chance for the positive price action, just keep your initial position small. Remember to buy on the dip, okay? So that's all I got, guys. If you like stuff like this, remember just to subscribe to the channel, like, share with your friends. I think this stock has a real chance of getting very, very high very soon. And so best of luck. See you guys later.